everyone, and welcome to another episode of Australian Survivor Talking Tribal. Each Tuesday night, we deep dive into the biggest moves of Australian Survivor, Brains versus Brawn. I'm your host, Nathan Morris, and as always, we'll be revealing a lot of spoilers, so make sure you have watched every episode of Australian Survivor so far. If you haven't, you can catch up on Template on demand. Later, I sit down with Luke Toki to talk more about his Survivor bucket list. Plus, Nick the Snake Idanza speaks to castaway Gerald to find out why his choice of shoe for Survivor is a cowboy boot. Now, let's get into it. Speaking of the snake, joining us again is Nick Idanza. Hi, Nick.
Hey, Nate. Thanks for having me. I'm just going to come out and say it. My favourite week in my favourite season of Australian Survivor so far.
Really?
Yeah, and I've been in 2 of them, so it's been amazing.
Favourite season, that is huge. Joining us as always, and I need to get her opinion on this, is podcast host and Survivor expert Shannon Gus. Shannon, hello.
Hello.
What do you think about what Nick just said?
Big call, Nick. I mean, look, I would agree this was my favorite week. I love plurality votes, so yeah, this was amazing for me. But I feel like favorite season ever, maybe in 2 weeks, I feel like that would be a fair call. But how can you say that when the season's like not even over yet? Okay,
we're going to get them to fight that out a little bit later on. I'm so excited to dive into it. But first, let's have a quick recap of what happened this week on Australian Survivor, because it was huge. It's day 32, and Hayley is feeling on the outer.
My only chance is to try to rebuild trust.
To lift everyone's spirits, Jonathan offers a reward like no other.
Want to know what you're playing for? A KFC feast.
Oh my God, I've been craving KFC.
The winners dive into their feast, and Danny suggests an idea.
We should all start a KFC alliance.
I'm serious.
Flick and Gerald spill the plan to Emmett.
Emmett is out of the challenge.
Andrew takes out the immunity challenge, and the Fire Tribe jumps straight into strategy mode. Emmett is brewing up a blindside, but George has other ideas.
I actually might play my not-so-hidden immunity idol for Emmett.
Jonathan counts the votes.
Emmett does not count. Gerald.
And Gerald becomes the second member of the jury. The Fire Tribe are beginning to feel the pressure.
Really hard to distinguish between what's the game and what's real.
Flick hears some devastating news.
I'm devastated to hear that Flick's mum has passed.
I've made the decision to stay and I'm going to keep pushing on for my mum. I'm going to do her proud.
At the immunity challenge, Jonathan mentions a twist.
The final 4 people to finish this challenge today will be the only people up for elimination at Tribal tonight. 1 piece left for Andrew.
Yes!
Danny, Laura, Way, or Cara could be going home, but most of the tribe are set on their decision. This doesn't sit well with George. George plays his idol, and with 1 vote against her name, Laura is sent to the jury. The tribe are struggling to trust George and Cara.
In my opinion, they're gone.
At the immunity challenge, Hayley takes out the win.
Congratulations.
George's name is on the chopping block, but in classic George fashion, the Bankstown local pitches another idea.
He's the leader of the Brawns. He has to go.
At Tribal Council, the votes are in,
Emmett.
and Emmett becomes the 4th member of the jury.
Bring me your torch.
Whew, what an emotional roller coaster. And on behalf of all of us, we want to send our love to Flick and her family. Now, Flick is an amazing woman. She's amazing at this game. So let's get back to the game. Nick, the Fire Tribe is still split between Old Brains and Old Brawn alliances. What do you think about that?
See, I don't know if they actually are. Like, I think on the surface it might seem like they are, but I think it's much more fluid than that. We've got small pockets of people voting for each other, switching. They might vote for each other one week, then work with them to vote out their other friend the next. I think it's pretty fluid. And I would say that the only really consistent voting block has been George and Cara. And even they this week didn't vote together on the Gerald vote. So I think it's actually like quite up in the air.
What do you think, Shannon? Still split?
I mean, I feel like there are no real connections in the game except George and Cara that are that strong. I feel like that's what made them such a threat. And you see that people vote against each other and then work together. Some seem to stick, like Emmett seemed really burned by George on the Gerald vote, but there's a pretty quick rebound rate. You see like Emmett and Danny making up and Flick and Danny making up, and Haley voted out unanimously and now has options and it becomes a swing vote. So it's one of the most fluid dynamics I've ever seen. And yeah, it feels like anyone will almost work with anyone. And that's what made such a tight pair, whether they were voting together or not, seems so threatening.
You know what? It is true. I feel like to survive in Survivor and get to the end, you can't really hold a grudge. And that's why I want to throw Andrew in here. He's getting darker and darker as he goes deeper down into the rabbit hole. Nick, he's entering some scary, scary territory.
Yeah, and he's a survivalist expert. So like, I'm just imagining these shots of him like, you know, sharpening the machete.
Yeah, he's a bare hand animal catcher. I think the next animal he's going to be catching is George.
Yeah, exactly. Pressure. Look, I've always said that the merge is nowhere near as fun as you think it's going to be, and I think we're starting to see that wear and tear on Andrew.
All right, now let's talk about Haley, right? So at the start of the week, she's like right on the bottom of the pile, and then like suddenly she's manoeuvring and going through it, and like she's actually looking quite healthy in the game, which I did not think was going to be possible for her at all. I didn't think it was an option. Shannon, how's she doing this?
She just needed a crack, and she got like 5 of them in that first vote. So once she could come up there into a majority, she, you know, has the skills, obviously, that she's used before in the game, and it's worked out really well for her to the point where she and Wade become the swing vote in the final vote, that they can go either way that they want, and I think they made the perfect decision to go with a strong 4. Yes, George and Cara are so wishy-washy, but, you know that, you keep an eye out for it. Worst case scenario, they put you in a minority and screw you over. But with the other side, you're definitely in a minority. So that's much worse. I think she made a great decision, and I think she's got control back. How has this happened?
Nick, has she gotten the trust of the tribe back, or is it just somebody else has stuffed up more so she's reaping the rewards?
It's a little bit of that, but I actually don't think trust really matters at this point. How many people in this tribe have broken the trust of the other people?
I know, it's amazing.
It's like,
everyone.
It's almost like a trust is a non-factor, especially now as the numbers are dwindling. It's like, it's almost now, who can I beat at the end? Who is going to actually be able to put emotion aside and vote with me logically for mutual benefit? So I don't think you actually have to trust the people you vote with at this point. And the fact that George and Haley voted together is an indication of that. Trust is not really a must at this point.
Now, we've got to talk about the battle royale of Emmett and Danny, right? So they're trying to like vote each other out. Did George throw a spanner in the works with that whole thing, Shan?
This move was so incredible. Like, I want to go through every part of it because George is part of every group. There are 4 plans happening right here. There's the fake Haley plan that Brawn are telling each other about. Possibly they're telling each other it will be a near unanimous vote again on Haley. That's plan 1. George is clearly in that. Then there's the Danny's KFC alliance that goes against Emmett. She brings George into that. He's part of that. Then Emmett gets the former Brawns together with George and Cara to vote against Danny with the Idol. He's part of that. And then he makes his own new majority to win the day. Now, last week, they were aware of the fact that you bring George into a plan, he'll probably screw you over, spill the beans. They knew this. How is he part of every single plan to make his majority come forward, flush an idol, and win the vote? It was honestly one of the more impressive moves I've ever seen, and I loved every single part of it.
And the constraint of everybody knowing that George had screwed them over and not firing the gun at them, like that to me, I don't know if I could hold back my anger, and I want to have a go at them straight away, but they waited until the right time. Do you think, Nick?
I think that everyone in this game is doing a really good job of whatever happened at Tribal Council last night is like happened in a different dimension.
Oh.
We are in a new game today. Even the fact that like Flick plays an idol to save Emmett and blindside her friend Danny, and the next morning they're like, I love you so much, and I will never vote for you. It's insane. They're all getting either temporary amnesia or they are just really, 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 really good liars.
And what makes me really sad is when the person that is kicked out is so shocked by what just happened, and that was Gerald. His poor face. Nick, what do you think about Gerald, the move to get Gerald out by George?
I feel sorry for Gerald because it's almost as if Emmett couldn't be targeted because of the idol. Flick couldn't be targeted because of the potential she would play the idol for herself. And I think he wanted to keep Danny there to fracture Brawn even further in the future. So it's almost like the random merry-go-round of Survivor just landed on Gerald. But my main question is this. Why is George specifically targeting the Brawn that he worked with at the previous tribe? Kez, Gerald. Why not target the people that he hasn't worked that well with or know that well? Flick, Danny. So I think who knows the way that George's mind actually works, but it's an interesting wrinkle. These people should know him quite well, right?
Do you have an idea about that, Shannon?
He's like known these people now for like a few, how long are they into the merge? Like quite a while into the merge. And you even see that when he leaves Danny out of the vote, when they vote out Gerald, he's like trying to bring her in again the next day. So I think even as he maybe severs relationships by sending home, Kez had an idol, made her a threat. Gerald close to Emmett, he's a threat. So he's sending home threats and then hopefully working on those other relationships with people he didn't know in the pre-merge.
I want to talk about a very special relationship on Survivor, and that is Cara and George. The trust and teamwork that they've built up together is actually quite beautiful, even though I'm sure to the rest of the tribe would be super annoying. Do you think it was the right move for Cara to be saved at Tribal, or should George have kept that idol for himself, Shan?
I mean, my mantra is you always take an ally in a relationship over an idol. I really hope that's how people view the game, even moving into more modern eras of Survivor. Like, how can you even quantify what Cara means to George? She's eyes and ears on the ground for him. She's a vote that's going to vote with him every time. She's someone who, if she now has an idol now, but she has protected him in the past, she might save him further down the road. So that relationship is so key. And yes, when they're not even splitting the vote and all the votes are coming to her, and you can even try and make it anonymous, to me, it is a no-brainer that you saved your best friend in the game.
Oh, on paper, that was so smart. Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I've always had that belief. And if you look back at All Stars, there's a reason why I fought so hard for Shonny not to get voted off, because of what she provided for me in camp. Whereas I think that too many people are so willing to cut their allies. Just look at what Danny did to Simon. Simon
and to
has
Emmett.
Infinitely... Yeah, exactly.
The one consistency in this whole season is Danny cutting her two threatening allies and failing at it, kind of.
I think that what George did wrong, perhaps, was not keep the idol for himself. Is that as soon as he found that key, he should have taken it to Cara and said, Cara,
yes,
here is this key. This is what you need to do. I'm not going to have any part of it. I want to be able to have like complete plausible deniability here. And I think that he should have recognized that Cara doesn't have a very good poker face, especially if you're not going to tell her what's going to happen. There's no way that you're going to be able to pretend she was the one who did it when she's sitting at Tribal going, oh my God, like what just happened?
That is the point where George blew up his game, I feel, because she was shocked. So then afterwards you can't go back and say, oh, Cara knew what she was doing. Like, Shannon, that was a big misstep. I think probably one of the first big missteps of George.
No, I mean, I agree that she did clearly look shocked. Even if he'd given her the key, there were other signals they were picking up on, like, for example, that split-happy George wasn't trying to split the vote on her. So I think they would have always known he was in on it. But yes, she definitely looked shocked. He covered for it well in the next vote. Now he's back in power, but it was dicey. But counter, Nick, do you remember that Cara did accidentally vote out Danny? Like, maybe he didn't trust her with the plan. And we're still talking about it, we're still thinking about it. So I do agree, give it to her. But he didn't seem to think he could really trust her with such a big plan.
Now,
yeah, and part of it's probably also that, like, you want that little moment, like, he's a huge fan. He wants to be able to sneak in under everyone's noses, open up the voting table. Like, that's such a cool moment.
All right, we have unpacked so much, I don't even think that I put that much in my luggage. Coming up after the break, Nick chats to the challenge beast Emmett about his Survivor experience. So stay tuned.
We are back with the latest person booted from Australian Survivor, Brains versus Brawn. Emmett,
Yes.
sad to see you here. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good about it, you know. I'm proud of how far I've made it.
Yep.
You know, I'm proud of my exit strategy of trying to formulate a physical alliance, and the fact that Haley and Wade dogged me because they wanted to play with the weaker players is kind of what I expected.
So can you tell me a little bit about why you applied for Survivor?
Well, I applied for Survivor because I love a freaking good challenge. And, you know, I've done a lot of crazy things in my time, and, you know, going through, you know, Ironman triathlons, swimming to an island off the coast of WA, and training to be a plant-based Superman. I thought that this would be the ultimate challenge, you know, basically putting myself to the, you know, the ultimate test of the world's toughest game, you know, being out in the outback, you know, being around a bunch of lunatic humans 24/7.
Are you one of these lunatics?
I am definitely a lunatic human. Yeah, as you can tell, there's two sides to me, and that's why I created the alter ego of the plant-based Superman.
Talk to me about two sides. Did you feel that in the game people were able to see both of those sides?
Oh, 100%, man. I think that it's quite clear that when I was chilling in camp, you know, I was kind of keeping to myself and keeping quite chilled and, you know, doing my meditation and my, you know, relaxation away from all the chaos. And then when the challenges came, it was like, bang! Boom! Super mode, man on. Superman mode's on, you know.
Can't argue with that.
So that's that was my strategy, and that's how I've approached lots of things in my life.
Were you a fan of the show before you came out to play?
100%, man. I love this game. I love the show. I love everything about it, and it was just a great opportunity to really push myself mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and come out with some epic personal growth.
Who are some of the players that you've looked to in the past as like models for how you played?
I really loved the way that Lee played the game. I think that he played with so much like a gentleman's approach, you know, honesty, integrity, and I tried to do as much as possible.
Yep.
But you know, this game's bred for deceit and lies, and
which Lee has, since realised.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, you know, you need to. It changes so quickly, so you can be honest with one person, but then you find out some information, and next minute you're dogging them. So it's like, you know, I tried to play with that kind of integrity, and that's sort of what I based my game on.
Now that we've, you know, unpacked all that, would you do it again? You're going to get this question for the rest of your life, buddy. Let me tell you.
Would I do it again? Ask me in a couple of months.
If you're toying with the idea, that's a yes. From personal experience, when the phone call comes running, it's really hard to say
Ask
no.
me in a couple of months or a year or 10, I don't know.
All right, well, Emmett, thank you so much for chatting with me. I think we got some really good info there, and
Amazing.
Good luck making your decision for the final tribal. It's going to be an epic one, I reckon.
It's going to be good. Can't wait.
Welcome back. We just heard from Challenge Beast Emmett, wearing an avocado shirt, mind you, in the jury villa. Now, Emmett lost some of his power in the tribe. I want to know, how did he go from being on top of the tribe to sitting in the minority? Shannon, break that down for us.
Well, he lost immunity. I think that's the big thing, you know, like he was immune the whole time and he's such a big target. And actually, I'm kind of impressed that he had so many things in place to protect him from that first vote of going home right there. And he had some key loyal allies in Flick and Gerald giving him information and an idol so that he could survive through to hopefully win more challenges. But he was always going to, you know, have a huge target on his back when he was vulnerable. And it really just was that epic move from George that completely depowered him. And then he had to claw his way back. And once he was vulnerable again. George came through again to get the swing votes in and put in that final nail in the coffin. So tough one for Emmett with George this week.
Okay, well, let's talk about Danny then, voting out the alpha. What do you think about her gameplay in that situation?
Well, I'm struggling with Danny because she provides great TV moments because she is impulsive and she's got big move-itis. She just wants to make big moves. But if we look back, how many of her moves recently have actually worked? And I'm kind of concerned that she is just doing them to do them and to make good TV. But I don't know if she's got an end game. Like, I don't quite know if each move is thought out in of itself. And I think of her at the KFC reward. She seemed almost drunk, like that she was willing to just kind of like, drunk on popcorn chicken.
And I would also say that the approach was wrong because the read on Gerald and Flick that they would want to do that was completely off, and they just ran straight back to him. So I really like Danny as a character. I think she's rebounded well off that move and off some of the other moves as well, especially the Simon move, better than I thought she would have. But I think these are very dicey moves that she's making, and she's trying to replace key relationships with Simon and Emmett that she has with other relationships that don't come through for her. So that's pretty troubling.
Yeah, I get that. Nick, you said earlier on that you thought that Danny was KFC drunk. I think that she was both KFC drunk and then also she had a chaser of Isuzu D-Max. That was amazing, getting in a car. Now, as we know, survivors have hardly had any clothes to choose from in the Outback. So Nick spoke to Gerald and Laura to find out what essentials they packed for their Survivor experience. Let's take a look.
All right, we are here in the jury villa with the wonderful Laura and the equally wonderful Gerald. The equally wonderful Gerald. We are talking all about what the hell do you pack for Survivor? So packing for Survivor should be easy, right? You don't get to really bring anything with you. I've found it one of the more difficult things that has happened both times. So I would love to hear from you guys. What is it that you brought with you into the game and why? We'll start with you, Laura.
All right, well, I was trying to think, things that really talk to my personality. So I had my Save the Whales t-shirt.
Perfect.
Which amazingly lasted the test of time, which was pretty cool. And I had some denim shorts, so that was kind of my day one outfit.
Classic.
I'm a beach person, that was me. And I had this flannel, which ended up being my jumper.
Well, I hope that you wore something underneath that.
I think this was one of my favourite items that I bought.
What is it?
Look, it's a sarong. It was multi-purpose. It became the fart sack.
Okay, and what, pray tell, is a fart sack?
So I would sleep in this at night time. It was like a little blanket, and then Joey and Georgia would sleep in it too, so it became the communal fart sack.
Oh, nice.
And then, whenever you go to Tribal to see Jonathan, you feel like you should get extra fancy, so I would then wear the fart sack as a dress and then come back to camp and sleep in the fart sack.
Okay, so wearing it to Tribal, it becomes a little bit of a metaphor of where the game went for you in the end?
Absolutely, it just went right down the shitter.
Amazing, amazing. All right, Gerald, you've got some really interesting stuff over here. Talk to me about your choices and why you made them.
Well, my day one outfit, I had a pair of Thomas Cook moleskins. Best thing to have in the Outback, no dirt in me boots, high top boots.
Right, okay. I'm learning things here because I probably would have gone for shorts, no?
Yeah, no, so I have my high top Ariats, and the beauty about boots, hard soles. So arch support with hard soles, balance beams, no flex. So you just walk straight over a balance beam, no worries at all. Your feet don't bend, you don't. Beautiful.
I feel like
smart.
You've got shares in this company.
Yeah, you may be the only person in Survivor history who has considered arch support. And do you know what? I'm here for that. I'm here for that. Okay, so what do you wish you did differently then?
Well, I also wore a long sleeve Thomas Cook shirt.
Okay, wait.
With my pants as my day one outfit.
I'm so confused. So, weren't you hot?
Not at all. Cool. See, the beauty about it, it wicks the sweat away, being out in the bush. That's exactly what you want. So, and I kept clean underneath it.
Yeah,
long sleeves, long pants.
No sunburn?
None.
Okay, so I think what I'm learning here is that if anyone is ever going to go on Survivor again, just hit up Gerald. Doesn't matter who you are, country, he'll give you all the tips. Thank you so much for showing us all your artifacts and revealing everything that we have learned about the game. And good luck trying to survive the rest of Jury Villa.
You're welcome.
Oh, I'm in the fart sack. Guys,
Sack buddies.
I think that's a good place to end it. See you back there.
Now, last week, I spoke to Luke Toki about his Ultimate Survivor bucket list. Let's chat to Luke again to hear more about his own Survivor goals and his experience in the jungle. Hey, Luke.
I know.
Hey, last week we went through some of your biggest Survivor achievements. So we've got more questions from the Go Bucket List brought to you by KFC, which you've already started.
I have.
Thank you so much for offering me some popcorn
too tasty
chicken. No,
not to
it's
start.
okay, Luke. I'm fine. I'm going to randomly pick out some questions and you can tell me if you've managed to achieve any of these, all right?
Okay, all right. Hit me with the questions,
All right,
mate.
I'm going to hit you with a good one. Okay, Jury Villa. Did you ever make it to Jury Villa?
Sadly, I did twice. I really thought I was going to win that last season, but unfortunately I ended up in Jury Villa, and it's bittersweet. You know, you get a warm shower, you get to eat whatever you want.
Yep.
It's unlimited, but you also know that you're out of the game, and you have lost that prize money, which would help you out.
It's just like what we have with KFC. Unlimited KFC here during this segment. For Luke.
Not for you.
I don't have any.
I'll give you some, but
No, I'm
it's all
busy.
mine.
Okay, what's it like going to Tribal Council as a member of the Jury Villa versus a tribe member? What's that like?
I've been on both sides, and when you're sitting there and you right down to the end of the numbers, and you're 4 people left in the game, and you're looking at the jury, and everyone looks, you know, like beards are shaved, hair's cut, they're wearing nice clothes, and as much as you'd love to be on that side, deep down, it's not where you want to be.
Yeah.
You need to be in the game.
Yeah.
And as hard as it is, yeah, you don't want to be in jury.
All right, how do you vote for the sole survivor? What is it that you're looking for? Fairness, gameplay, what is it?
I love to see a bit of survival instinct from the players.
Yep.
Someone that has at least put the effort in to try to make the shelter, put the effort into collect wood, try to provide for their tribe, and also just just be a good tribe member. I also look for good strategy, and strategy that's not just based on luck. You know, luck is total separate of the game, but when you have a chance to make a move that you've gone out on a limb to be the leader, to take control of the game, to be up the front, because everyone knows as soon as you take control of the game, there's normally 2 or 3 votes and you're getting voted out because people look at you as a threat. So my personal opinion, there's a lot of things to base it on, and survival is definitely highly up there where a lot of others would prefer just strategy and certain things. So,
did you learn to fish on Survivor?
I didn't learn to fish on Survivor. They give you a lot less things to work with out in Survivor. I do love the ocean. I'm huge on fishing, snorkeling, everything.
You called Aquaman back in WA.
Exactly. But fishing at home is I go to the service station and I pick up some frozen bait and I put it in the car and I drive and fish. There you need to catch the bait.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit harder. So, yeah, that's my...
Fishing for me is just fish fingers in the oven. Now, okay, this is a good one. Did you learn to build a shelter on Survivor? Were you strategic in the building of your shelter at your tribe, or did you just watch?
No, listen, I was, Nath, because I've actually done a trade in carpentry.
Really?
No, just joking. No, but I have learnt a lot of knots back in the day because I was in Boy Scouts.
Oh, really?
No, I was just joking again.
Oh.
No, not at all. Listen, I got out there, I got involved. I don't know much, but I sat there and gave a good hand to the rest of my tribe mates, and we built a definitely wouldn't want to live there forever, but it was okay.
Really?
No.
All right. So many contestants talk about Survivor being on their bucket list. Was being on Survivor a bucket list item for you?
Everyone has that feeling that you want to test yourself. You know, you can really push yourself to the limit, and Survivor does that. You know, it teaches you that you need to have resilience. You need to be able to, deal with the harsh environments. And I really believe that I've said it to so many people over the years now, is that apply, because the mother at home that looks after her kids, to the miner, to the big CEO, you will always get something out of it. There's a very small group of people in the world that can call themselves survivors, and that's even if you're the first boot or you've won it. You've all sat there and put your hand up to do something that's completely out of the ordinary, to try and test yourself, and I really I love anyone that has done it. So, bucket list.
Well, bucket list for me was meeting Luke Toki.
Oh, I'm sure, huge. That was a huge tick off the list.
I had something else to do. That's all we have time for with the Go Bucket List game. Luke, thank you for playing.
Thanks, Nate.
You're amazing. Let's take a moment now and we'll see you after the break. Luke, can I have a chip, please?
Yeah.
Thanks. Oh, it landed in the bucket. Oh no, it's almost time for us to go, but first we need to award an imaginary trophy, nay, the Stick of Destiny, nay, the Rock of Justice, to the biggest play of the week. Nick, where's your rock going?
Okay, so I was thinking to give it to Hayley for her amazing bounce back, but I want to give it to someone else. I'm going to give my award to Wei, because I think that Wei has been pivotal in a lot of votes. She doesn't quite get the fanfare, but I think she's right in there. It wasn't just Hayley making that swing. And I think that someone like Andrew, when he says, Wei, how are we splitting the votes? I think that's a nice little insight into the way in which people appreciate what she can provide them strategically, but they also trust that she is going to make the right decision. But yeah, shout out to Hayley for putting herself in that majority. We spoke about the anatomy of a split vote a couple of weeks ago. She put herself in the majority so that she could swing it to then vote out Emmett. So special mention, but I'm going to give it to my girl Wei.
All right, Shannon, the rock's in my hand. I'm passing it to you. Who's it going to?
I'm going to have to give it to George, but especially for that first move of the week. It was just so cool that he could be included in every plan and have the strategic foresight to make it work. I absolutely loved it. He plays big, he plays hard, it gets a little dicey, but he's covered it so far and he's still there. And imagine telling yourself on night 1, episode 1, after he played that advantage, that we would be going into week 7 with George still there in a majority of a pretty incredible week of strategy. So King George, take your crown, take your rock, you deserve it.
Well, this is why you two are experts. Why? What?
Just to add, sorry, I don't know how we haven't said this yet, but George and Cara go into next week with an idol that they didn't play. Like, that takes cojones, and they didn't play it. So if we had told ourselves this at the beginning of the season, no one would have ever believed us. So amazing. How? What is life?
Ridiculous.
Well, look, I have to agree with you guys. I think I'm going to have to make the Rock of Justice into 3 pebbles of power. Firstly, we've got Hayley, for getting back on top and making decisions again. Unbelievable. We've got Wei for getting to where she is by doing not too much, really, which I respect because that's what I'm all about. And then George, not because of his gameplay, but simply because he licked Danny's pocket when she had KFC in there. It was the best pocket lick I've ever seen.
Amazing.
A big thank you to Shannon, Nick and Luke. Keep watching Australian Survivor Sundays, Mondays and Tuesdays at 7:30 on 10. Now, get ready for a little sneak peek of what's to come on Australian